Hello everyone, in today's video I will show you how to define and use functions in Python. If you watched previous videos, I always talk about some functions, default functions that Python has inside. I said you can write functions. Why? Because sometimes, usually you use some code blocks more than one time. Imagine that you want to print, hi, my name is Jason. Okay, hello, my name is Jason and I'm 25 years old. Okay, you want to print this, but then you have another code block in your project, you want to print it again. Okay, and then another code block you want to write again. In this way you always write same part of the code over and over again, and this is not readable. It's very time consuming. So what you want to do is you're gonna define a function. To define a function, you write the keyword def and then you write name. Usually when you are naming a function, you don't start like you're naming a variable. If you can remember, when we were naming a variable, we say name of pet, right? And then we do cat, etc. Okay, but when you're naming a function, not a variable, you start with a capital usually. What is this? This is introduction. Okay, my introduction. Let's say your function will be my introduction. You start with capital my, and then you won't use this one. You do introduction. It's not a rule. And some people may argue. I don't have a profession about Python, but I see this type of naming. Of course, you can do any type of naming. You can search from Google, see what you prefer. I do my introduction, and then you put this one like you are using an if. Remember that if while using for loops, while loops, or if else statements, you always do this, and then you put a gap here. Same thing. Okay, when you put a gap, it means this code is inside your function. For example, when you write code here, this means they are inside your function because you have this symbol here and double dot, and you have a gap here. This means this code belongs to the function. This is not, because it doesn't have this gap. Now it's in the function, now it's not. So let's define our function. Print hello, my name is Jason, and let's say what's your name? Let's delete this. And now you have a function. When you run this, you tell Python, hey, I have this function, remember it. Okay, it doesn't use it right now. Let me delete these cells. It doesn't use this function right now. You just say Python, hey Python, I have this function. So this is my function. Now Python knows it, and when I want to use it, I don't need to define it again, so I won't use the keyword. I will just write the name, my introduction, and I will put parentheses. Now I say here, I say Python, I have this function here, I use it. Easy is that. But what if you want to use it for different people, right? What you can do is you can add some parameters. Let's say we don't want to, oops, sorry. Let me pause here for a second. Imagine that we don't want to write the name directly, but we want it to be not static but dynamic, so people can change the name while using the function. Here you add some parameters. Okay, name and age. Now these are parameters that function can use. Okay, you can use them like this, name and age. And now our function is changed. It doesn't print directly, it takes some parameters here, and using that parameters, it prints it. Okay, functions cannot take parameters outside. So now they are taken from outside, but we need to give these one to them. If I run this, I will get error because it says, hey, your function actually takes 2 parameters, but there is no argument here. So I need to give some arguments to it. They should be in the same order. We want Jason here, and put comma, age, let's say 25, right? Also, copy paste this. I always write Jason, okay, because I just get used to it. Coral, it's 18. Now, when I run this function, it will find the function. It will match these parameters with your arguments. Name is Jason, age is 25, and it will run correctly. Hi, my name is Jason, and I am 25 years old, and it will print, hi, my name is Carl, and I am 18 years old. What if we accidentally mixed order? Now it will print, hi, my name is 25 and I am Jason years old, because it just matches parameters directly. Okay, you can also define functions to use later, such as addition, right? You can define addition, and what does addition do? It will take two numbers, number 1 and number 2, and it will just sum them up, right? Number 1 plus number 2, and then it will print them. It will do sum equals number 1, and then it will print sum. So this function, let me run this to tell Python I have new functions. Addition takes two parameters and it sums them up and then prints it. Now I don't need to write these codes like every single time. I don't need to write sum, number 1, number 2, print it. I can just write addition and that's it. For example, I can say addition and give it two arguments. For example, Google Colab suggesting these two, and it will print 15, sorry, not 20. It will print 15. It just sums them up and prints it. Also, you can do, for example, subtraction, and this time you won't print, okay? Again, it will take two parameters, for example, but this time you won't print. You're just gonna say result equals this, and not print, but this time you're not going to print, you're just going to return result. Okay, what does this do? It calculates result and then it gives you the result. It doesn't print, it gives you. So you can do in your code, my subtraction result. Okay, I can print actually. So this time I need to write print because my function doesn't print. My function just give me the result. So I declare my variable and I take the result, which is 5. So when I call subtraction here, it finds the function. It matches my argument with parameters. So number 1 is 10, number 2 is 5. It calculates the new variable result. Result is 5 here. And then result, if you don't type return, actually let me take this here for better understand. If you don't return result here, it will calculate result as 5, but result is inside this function and you cannot access it. So let me here for a second comment that too. Right now you cannot print result. If you do this, you will get an error. Even it says this warning, which is result is not defined. You can say, what? I defined result, but it's inside function. So if you define a variable or change this result inside the function, it stays inside the function. You can say that, but I return it. Okay, you return it, but you don't take it in your code. You just return. So result is returned, but it's lost in your project. You need to catch it. You need to take that return. Here I'm taking that return. I'm saying my subtraction result is equal this return result. And now it's 5, and when I print it, it will print 5. So functions basically they work like this. Of course, you can do more complicated things with them, but for the sake of this video, I think this is enough. Let me leave it like this. Thank you for watching. See you on the next video.